Hamilton County, excuse me, Board of Election meeting. Today is November the 7th, 2022, and we're calling the meeting to order at approximately 8:35. And I'd like to also indicate that proper notice has been given as required under the Ohio Revised Code 121.22. I'd like to begin first with our Pledge of Allegiance, and as always, I'd like anyone that has served our country to lead us in the pledge, please. And thank you all who have served our country and are serving our country for leading us in the pledge this morning. Next, we have on our agenda the board meeting minutes from October the 11th, 2022. Would like to entertain a motion to, here, let me just put this down. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve those. Everyone should have received those, read them, and reviewed them. And if there are any changes or updates, please make that, let us know now.
I'll make a motion that we approve the board meeting minutes from the October 11th meeting.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? That motion passes. Next, we have ballot remakes. This is always an exciting time for us when it's election time. Ballot remakes. Sherry, Ms. Poland?
Yes, we do have ballots that need your approval. These are ballots that were remade in bipartisan teams in accordance with Secretary of State directive and board policy, and our administrator, Krista Criddle, will present those to the board.
Thank you, Christy.
Thank you. We do have a number of them, so bear with me. So the first category that I'm going to bring up are the UOCAVA remakes. Those are overseas, uniform overseas voters that have been emailed ballots that then they send those back. They mail those back to us, and we do have to remake those. So those are ballots A1 to A86, A237 to A292, A491 to A549, A622 to A670, A697 to A719, A782 to A793, and A849 to A873.
I'll move approval of those ballots as remade.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those, anyone opposed or abstaining? That motion carries.
The next category we have are damaged ballots. They came to us or they were damaged, so they wouldn't scan properly. So those are A87 through A127, A176 through A186, A218 through A222, A387 to A419, A550 to A577, A720 to A743, A794 through A802, and A804 through A808.
I'll move approval of those ballots as remade.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstaining? That motion carries.
The next category we have are ballots with stray marks on those. Those were reviewed by the director and deputy director and remade by the bipartisan team. And those are A128 through A153, A187 through A217, A293 through A344, A420 to A490, A586 through A616, A671 through A686.
A 671?
A671 through A686. A754 through A781. And A809 through A821.
Move approval of those ballots as remade.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye, I'm sorry. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? That motion carries.
Thank you. We have one ballot, A803, that it was a jail voter from out of county, so they had to send that back to us. We had emailed them a ballot, and then they sent that back to us. That had to be remade, and that is A803.
I'll move approval of ballot A803 as remade.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? And that motion carries.
The next category we have are what we call double bubbles. That is where a voter colored in a valid candidate and then colored in the write-in box and wrote the same candidate's name so that it doesn't count as an overvote. Per the EOM, we do remake those ballots. So those double bubbles are A345 through A348, A617 through A621, A749 through A753, and A829 through A831.
I'll move approval of those ballots as remade.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? That motion carries.
The next category are those with voter intent where the voter has written notes on their ballot. Those were again reviewed by the director and deputy director together, and it was clear on the voter's intent due to the notes that were written. Those are A154 through A175, A223 through A236, A349 through A386, A578 through A585, A687 through A696, A744 through A748, and A822 through A828.
I'll move approval of those ballots as remade.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Anyone abstaining or opposing? That motion carries.
Thank you. The last category that we have, we call them orphan ballots. That is where the voter sent back one sheet instead of out of our two-sheet ballot, and so that can properly scan, we remake the ballot, the page. We take a complete ballot and remake the page that they did actually vote, and then the other page is blank since they didn't return that second page. So those are ballots A832 through ballots A848.
I'll move approval of those ballots as remade.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? That motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. And again, just as a reminder, all of our ballots, all of the reports that Christy has just given us, they've been viewed in a nonpartisan way with both D's and R's. So thank you very much. Thank you, team. Okay. Next is the logic and accuracy testing. Ms. Poland?
Yes, last Thursday, November 3rd, staff conducted the public test portion of the logic and accuracy testing. This is just one of a series of logic and accuracy tests that staff conducts throughout the election cycle. This is where bipartisan teams vote, test ballots, and scan them through our system, tabulate, and then compare the electronic count to a hand count of those ballots. The results matched, and staff recommends approval.
Thank you.
I'll move approval of the LNA testing.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? That motion carries. Well, next is declaring the polls open at 6:30 in the morning, tomorrow morning on November the 8th, 2022. Need a motion.
I'll move approval, or I'll move that we open the polls tomorrow at 6:30 a.m.
Second.
Okay, any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed or abstaining? None but the devil, because this is something that we do procedurally all the time. Thank you very much. All those in favor, we said aye, and the motion
Aye.
carries.
Yeah.
Any other business?
Just to give the board an update on the November election, we have trained over 2,500 poll workers for this Tuesday's election. That will allow us to have a small reserve of poll workers who are trained. They'll be able to fill in any last-minute cancellations we may have between today and tomorrow morning. If they haven't been called to duty tomorrow morning, they'll report here to the board and go out as necessary, or perhaps even assist us with some duties here on election day. So very happy with our poll worker department for being able to accomplish that for this election. Early in-person has been busy. As of end of day yesterday, we had processed over 31,000 voters in our early vote center. And over 71,000 individuals have requested a ballot by mail, and about 80% of those have been returned. So we still have some to be returned today and tomorrow. But reminder, if they're not received at the board by tomorrow at 7:30 p.m., as long as they're postmarked by today and received on or before November 18th, they can be included in the official count. That's all I have.
Okay.
Sherry, is there any updates? I read the media reports, but we had a person that got arrested at the,
Correct. That individual was using a bullhorn to campaign, which could be heard inside the polling place. He was asked by two different administrators, 2 different times, to stop using the bullhorn, and then the deputy director and I made the same request and refused, and so eventually he was asked to leave the property and then arrested. But we have not received any update from the prosecutor's office about that.
okay.
So I want to just commend the staff for just the professionalism. I mean, I've been out here almost every day watching and observing and supporting everybody, especially our voters that were coming in. I just want to thank the staff for the great job that they've been doing, because I've seen some people actually up in their face as well, and I just think that's something that's not acceptable, and we have to set structure and boundaries, and we've done that, and we'll continue to do that. So I thank you, and also, if you have anything you want to say, Alex?
Well, I'd just like to add that today is the last day for our early in-person vote center. We close at 2 p.m. today, so anybody who wants to vote early needs to get here by 2 p.m. The staff over there have done a tremendous job this cycle. We've seen, for the last week, we've seen about 400 voters an hour pretty consistently every day. Yesterday at the peak, we had over 600 voters an hour. And yesterday was sort of the longest line we ever saw, because it was just because on that Sunday we open at 1 p.m. so people come out early and get in line, but the line never was longer than a 20-minute wait, so they really are doing a fantastic job over there.
Well, that was when I heard that was one of the questions I raised, because we have a backup as far as overflow, so we didn't have to implement that at all. So I'm really excited about that as well. And we also have Mr. Henning from the Secretary of State's office, and he travels all over this region as well. So we'd just like to see if you have any thoughts or comments you'd like to share with us this
Yeah,
morning.
thank you. Kenny Henning with the Secretary of State's office. It's unbelievable to think that this is our 4th general election with your team for the current term we're in. It's been a privilege and honor working with the team down here, most of you all for 4 years now. So your team does outstanding work. Many other counties look to leadership here for guidance, and Sherry and Alex, thank you. Thank you for mentoring so many other counties too. They really appreciate it. I was here for the public test, and the intern who was here with the paper was just so stunned about the bipartisan controls in place as she was learning about it and photographing over there. So to everyone working on that, extremely helpful for her to see and be able to report to the public. It's very much appreciated. Brett Harbage, who is our ADA coordinator for the state of Ohio, for the Secretary's office, he picked up one of your demo machines because he was speaking to the National Federation of the Blind's conference here in the state of Ohio this past weekend. And while he was there, he just reported to me, he was so impressed by so many individuals there with disabilities, and they were so encouraged that they still had the ability to vote independently on those ADA machines. So he wanted to also thank you for letting him use your one demo heart machine. He had a couple other demo machines from other counties that use other systems, but the individuals that were there, the Ohioans that were there, felt so appreciated knowing that they still were able to vote independently even with their disability. And like the director and deputy said, today is the last day of early voting. If you don't make it here by 2 p.m. today, you do have to vote at your polling location tomorrow. If you have an absentee ballot, please do not bring it to the polling location. The poll workers there can't accept it. You have to bring it to the drop box here. But you can vote provisionally at your polling location if you don't want to bring it to the drop box. We'll be doing a lot of inquiry answering over the next 24 hours plus, I'm sure, and I will be up in Shelby County Station for most of the day tomorrow, but I'm always a phone call and text away, but I feel like your leadership here is very well ready for tomorrow, and we're looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
Henning.
Kenny.
And I'd also like to thank our local media, our radio and TV stations. They have just been phenomenal in making sure that they get the information out regarding how safe it is and how we as a board here at the Hamilton County Board of Election work diligently for the voters to ensure that they will have a safe, open, and transparent ballot preparation and also implementation as well. We also had a national media who also covered and requested some of the information that we have shared. We also have shared our website with them. They are totally impressed. And again, we cannot forget our local media for the coverage that they have been providing to us and to the audience and to our voters here in Hamilton County. All right, anyone else? So we are now in recess.
I'll move that we stand in, unless there's other business, I'll move that we stand in recess.
Thank you.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstaining? That motion carries. We are in recess officially.
See you all tomorrow at 6:30.
Yes.